This video is going to give you some guidance on how to create a symmetrical double exposure image inspired by the work of Shinichi Higashi. Shinichi Higashi is a Japanese photographer whose work is based around urban images taken at night generally. He calls his series Tokyo Nocturnal. He uses long exposure photography to create light trails and then uses an editing technique where he double exposes his photographs, flips them in terms of creating a mirror image, and then merges them together to create this symmetrical effect that you get in his images here. So we're going to show you how to do these sorts of images in this video. So the first thing you need to do is to select an image from your urban photo shoot. Now, please select an image that does have dynamic angles in there. So we don't want anything that's kind of centrally positioned. You want a photograph whose composition is either off to the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and it then allows you, when you create the symmetrical composition, it will, when we reverse the image, it will create some interesting angles in the image itself. So this image I've chosen here of a part of the school, I photographed this to ensure that I've got an interesting angle in the composition. I've got diagonals going from the bottom corner up to the top. So if I photograph this just straight on symmetrical, this wouldn't work for the type of edit you want to do. So we're looking for a photograph that has diagonal angles in there, or things that are off to one side of the frame. So what you're going to do first of all is a few different steps to this. So the first of all, open it up, and you need to first of all select and copy the image. So you go up to the top of the screen, go to your select menu and select all, and then you go across to edit and you copy it. What we're now going to do is we're now going to create a new file, which will, because we've copied it, will then open up with the exact same measurements. So if we go to File and New, and just press Create straight away, what we'll then do, it will open up a new image like this, and this is the exact same proportions as your original image. Now I'm just going to go to Edit and Paste, and it's now pasted that image into the new file. Now the reason why I need to make a new file for this is I want to then be able to rotate and flip this horizontally so it becomes like a mirror image, and you can't do that on the same photograph. So what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to go to Image, Transform, and then Flip horizontally. So it's Image, Transform, Flip horizontally. And when I press Flip horizontally, can you see it's kind of reversed the image that way? What I'm now going to do is go back to Select All, Edit and Copy. And I'm going to go back to my original photograph I started with, and go to Edit and Paste. Now what's happened there, if you check now your layers menu, you can see you've got a background layer, which is the original one, which you can probably see on the little thumbnail image there, is facing one way, and then your new layer one has the thumbnail of the reversed image facing the other way. So that's two images now on top of each other. Now in order to get the effect, as you see in Shinichi's work, of those two images kind of now merging together, you can see both images. What we need to do now is something called reduce the opacity. We reduce the opacity on layer 1. Opacity means how opaque, solid or transparent or see-through an image is. And at the moment the opacity is at 100%. We can't see through the top layer. So if you go to your opacity layer there, and you can just reduce it down, and basically reduce it down to 50%. Okay, and can you see what's happened there? Now I've reduced the opacity of the top layer, you can begin to see both layers now kind of merging together. So you get some nice interesting kind of angles, lines, etc., patterns emerging out of the image. Now you've got a choice now. You can now begin to edit each layer separately, or what I would tend to do is now merge our layers together. So I'm going to merge these two and then edit the whole thing together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my layer, and I'm just going to merge down the layers. So now I've got them all together in one layer there. And now what I can do is now begin to enhance the colours and bring the colours out, because what's happened when you reduce the opacity, you're kind of fading the colours and the tones out a little bit. So I'm going to go to Image Adjustments and my Curves tool. You could use other tools as well. And I'm just want to now just kind of bring out just more brightness and contrast into the image. Just playing around with my Curves tool in certain areas. So can you see how now it's become a much more stronger colour image there? As I say, you could do the same with brightness and contrast. You could do it with hue saturation. You can vary the tones just to kind of bring it back to a much more stronger colour. Again, you may wish to use some other techniques you've already used before, such as say the burn tool. You might want to use the burn tool to maybe paint in kind of some tone at the top of the image there, create a little vignette. It's entirely up to you how you want to finish off the edit itself. You could even turn the image black and white if you wanted to. So that's how to create a Shinichi Higashi inspired symmetrical double exposure image. I hope that's been of help, and I'd like to have a go at producing one of these of your own in your lesson today. Thanks everyone, bye bye.